Prince Harry is now being sued for libel by his former charity, CELEB Court Record Show. Oh my goodness.
Chandorka went onto TV and accused Harry of, and I'm quoting here, harassment and bullying at scale.
Well, of course, Harry was absolutely livid. But what really did it was when Meghan pulled the, I'm a proud, confident woman, and even though I'm of colour, I'm much fairer than you, and you need to know your place. And your place is with my foot on your head.
Who can forget about Meghan, by the way, stealing the charity cup off Sophie Chandorka for the photo op?
Well, just rack off. That's what furious Australians are going to be saying to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle after this astonishing leak has just proved that the couple have been lying about the security costs on next week's fake royal tour.
Myself being targeted by the Sussex squad, who obviously target anybody. Even Sandy Sussex went for me recently where I had my operation. She started telling people that I was going to create a fundraiser to get money off of people. I mean, these people are completely deranged.
And to the Sussex squad, the squaddy members, the Sugars, shame on you, man. Shame on you for how violent and vile you guys get. We make a video. I make a video. I report a video. It is what it is. You can choose to watch or not. But that crowd, they are disgusting, the lengths that they will go to.
Let's talk about something that has genuinely never happened before in the history of the British royal family. A charity one that a senior royal built from the ground up with his own hands in memory of his own mother has just dragged that royal into London's High Court and called him the architect of a coordinated smear campaign. That royal is Prince Harry. That charity is CELEB. And if you thought the story ended there, I need you to stay right where you are because what's happening this week goes so much deeper than a lawsuit. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this moment could be the one that changes everything.
Now, this is going to spark a total revolt amongst locals. It proves that the readout, the operational notes, which they leaked to the mainstream media in Australia, are another tissue of lies. And I think actually this is the most disastrous start to the Down Under expedition, which we already know looks so bad.
To understand why this lawsuit hits so differently from everything else we have seen, you need to understand what CELEB actually is and what it meant to Harry personally. In 2006, a 21-year-old Prince Harry traveled to Lesotho, one of the smallest, poorest nations on Earth, landlocked inside South Africa, carrying a devastating reality with him. At the time, Lesotho had one of the highest rates of HIV and AIDS infection anywhere in the world. Orphaned children, shattered communities, an entire generation being erased silently, with almost no global attention. Harry had spent part of his gap year working at an orphanage there. He came back changed. He co-founded CELEB alongside Prince Seeiso of Lesotho, in honor of both their mothers Diana, who had spent her final years tearing down the stigma around AIDS with her bare hands, and Seiso's mother, Queen Mamohato. The name CELEB means forget-me-not in Sesotho, a direct, personal tribute to Diana.
And the board of trustees also joined Harry in leaving CELEB, which he helped set up 9 years ago after Diana was killed in a Paris car crash, which means forget me not in the local language, which apparently Harry forgot about.
This was not a vanity project. This was not a name attached to a ribbon cutting. Since 2010 alone, the annual Polo Cup raised over £11 million. This was one of the very few patronages Harry chose to keep after his dramatic split from the royal family in 2020. When he walked away from the palace, from William, from Charles, from his titles and his duties and his country, he kept CELEB. He said it mattered. He said it was personal. And now that same charity has filed defamation proceedings against him in the High Court, the charity named after his mother's final legacy. Forget me not, apparently, he did.
My reading of the situation is that race plays a huge part in this, as does colonialism and if you understand the sensitivities of the newly emergent black upper middle class and upper class,
Now here's where the story gets complicated and where the real drama lives. Dr. Sophie Chandoka was appointed chair of Sentabale's board. She is a Zimbabwean-born lawyer, a former executive at Meta, and one of the most credentialed people to ever run that organization. She arrived with a serious vision and the qualifications to back it up. Her position was clear. The charity was hemorrhaging money in London, while the children in Lesotho and Botswana received a fraction of what was being raised. The fundraising model, champagne polo events in Florida, glittering galas attended by celebrities and billionaires, looked spectacular on Instagram and delivered relatively little to the actual mission.
It was always evidently more about the show than the go. The criticism in the early day was that the head of the charity was paid something like, I don't remember what, 150,000 per annum. He had a house, his 3 children were in school, he had a car, there were a whole load of new 4-wheel drives everywhere, and the people for whom the charity had been set up were getting little or nothing.
She wanted to repatriate the charity's focus back to Africa, build local fundraising networks, and cut the bloated overhead. Logical, principled, long overdue. Then things exploded publicly. Chandoka went on television and accused Harry of orchestrating a campaign of bullying and harassment designed to force her out. She was specific.
I think absolutely. I mean, Sophie Chandoka, Dr. Sophie Chandoka, was a very, and still is a very accomplished black woman. You know, she was an executive at Meta. She was a lawyer. She had many different accomplishments, and Sentabale was also one of them until it seemingly Harry really cut her down quite publicly in, as you said, this feud that kind of went on in front of our eyes. And I remember Sophie Chandoka going on Trevor Phillips' show and sort of saying her piece. Harry was leaking left and right.
She described how a Netflix camera crew Harry brought to a Sentabale fundraiser had disrupted the event. She described an incident involving Meghan at a polo fundraiser. Meghan reportedly walking straight past Dr. Sophie without acknowledgement, reaching for the charity trophy for a photo opportunity, leaving Dr. Sophie.
Who can forget about Meghan, by the way, stealing the charity cup off Sophie Chandoka for the photo op?
Standing there in front of donors and cameras. And then came the line that cut to the bone. Dr. Sophie said publicly that the only reason she was speaking out was because Harry had authorized the release of damaging information to the press without calling her first, without warning her country directors, without telling her executive director. He went to his media contacts before he went to the head of his own charity. That is not a management disagreement. That is a calculated move. The Charity Commission investigated the whole mess. They found no evidence of widespread bullying, but they also criticized all parties for letting an internal dispute detonate publicly and damage an organization that existed to serve children with HIV. Harry's team criticized the report. Dr. Sophie welcomed it. Harry and co-founder Prince Ciso then resigned, along with the full board of trustees, and Dr. Sophie remained, still in the chair, still running the charity.
He called the leadership, Sophie Chandoka, untenable. Hiccups. He called her leadership untenable. So it began in 2024 when the board challenged her over a $400,000 bill for consults. They said they had brought little return. She was asked to step down, but instead complained to the Charity Commission, alleging bullying, misogyny, and racism. She accused the Duke of trying to eject her through bullying and harassment, which he denies. After a probe, it found no evidence of bullying, but said there had been weak governance. So again, he took a slap on the wrist too. While they couldn't prove that she was bullied, they told also, you didn't do a very good job here, Harry. And there's Dr. Sophie. So this is a big deal. This is a case we're going to be following very closely. In March, trustees resigned en masse, blaming Ms. Chandoka's almost dictatorial leadership. Harry and his founder, Prince Ciso, resigned as patrons, calling the whole situation untenable. He later called the breakdown devastating, criticized her leadership, saying the consequences will not be borne by her, but by the children who were.
She didn't go quietly. She went to the High Court. The case formally titled Sentabale versus Duke of Sussex, and another was filed on March 24th, 2026. Court records became public on April 10th. Sandoval's formal statement identifies Harry and longtime friend Mark Dyer, who had served as a trustee as the architects of a coordinated adverse media campaign that triggered an onslaught of cyberbullying directed at the charity and its leadership. Read those words carefully. Architects, coordinated, cyberbullying. This is not the language of a misunderstanding between former colleagues. This is a formal legal allegation that Harry deliberately ran a campaign to destroy the reputation of the institution.
The proceedings have been brought against Prince Harry and Mark Dyer, identified through evidence as the architects of that adverse media campaign, which has had significant viral impact and triggered an onslaught of cyberbullying, sugars directed at the charity and its leadership. Harry's spokesman did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Charity's co-founder, Prince Ciso, and the board of trustees also joined Harry in leaving CELEB, which he helped set up 9 years ago after Diana was killed in a Paris car crash, which means forget me not in the local language, which apparently Harry forgot about. During the public acrimony, Chanduku reported him and the trustees of Britain's charity regulator over alleged bullying and harassment. 41-year-old Prince said what had occurred was heartbreaking and that blatant lies hurt those who have invested decades in supporting the children in South Africa. After the review, the Charity Commission reported in August it had found no evidence of bullying, but said there had been weak governance and criticized all parties for allowing an internal dispute to become public.
He created, and that the online harassment of Dr. Sophie and her team flowed directly from that campaign. Harry's spokesperson fired back immediately, calling the claims offensive and damaging, and stating that he categorically rejects them. The response then called it extraordinary that charitable funds were being used to pursue legal action against the very people who built and supported the organization for nearly 2 decades. Now pay close attention to that response, because notice what it does not say. It does not say the media campaign never happened. It questions the use of charity money to pursue the lawsuit. That is a very specific, legally careful denial. And in defamation cases, what you choose not to say matters just as much as what you do.
And I'm here to tell you that there is no doubt in my mind that Sophie Chandoka understood that Meghan is an uppity, race-baiting, race-hating, fair-skinned, what they used to call negress, now called a woman of colour, who passed for white, and she wouldn't have passed for white if she didn't have some form of prejudice. And Sophie Chandoka will also know that a lot of the fair-skinned women of colour look down on the darker-skinned women of colour.
Here's the irony that the whole situation drips with. For 3 years, Harry has been one of the most active litigants in British courts, always on the side filing the claims. He sued newspapers. He sued publishers. He stood on courthouse steps and told the world that accountability matters, that truth matters, that powerful people must be held to the same standard as everyone else. He has framed every single legal battle as a moral crusade. The High Court now has a case where Harry is the defendant. The plaintiff is the charity he built to honor his dead mother, and the allegation is defamation. He is now standing on the other side of the very argument he has been making for years.
This must make Harry furious. This must make him beyond furious. So look, this is bad news. Bad news bears, I would say, for Prince Harry, the fact that now he's gonna have to go do a whole case to fight this thing.
And here's where it gets worse. Because this week, at the exact moment this lawsuit went public, Harry was boarding a plane to Australia. Not an official royal tour. Harry is the keynote speaker at a workplace mental health conference in Melbourne for a reported speaking fee of around $50,000. Meghan is hosting a 3-day women's wellness retreat at a luxury Sydney Beach hotel, with tickets running between $2,700 and $3,200 per person for around 300 guests.
She is desperate. They are both desperate. They have huge financial problems. Huge. Their outgoings, as I have said, I've explained it before, so I'm not going to go over it again. Their outgoings exceed their incomings by a huge amount. And also, his event is not sold out, nor is hers. Meg's baby only has 300 places to fill.
Let's be very precise about what Harry is being paid $50,000 to lecture about. Psychosocial safety at work, how leaders should treat the people in their care, workplace well-being. He is giving that speech this week while a charity formally accuses him in the High Court of running a coordinated harassment campaign against its own leadership.
Harry is there to discuss mental health in the workplace. His own mental health is on the decline, and he's never even once been in a workplace in his life.
The timing alone is staggering, but the taxpayer situation makes it something else entirely. Harry and Meghan's PR spokesperson publicly stated the trip was entirely privately funded. When a petition gathering over 45,000 Australian signatures demanded no public money be spent, his response was dismissive and contemptuous. He called the concern a moot point. He questioned what the petition hoped to achieve. He essentially told 45,000 Australians they were wasting their time. Then, both New South Wales Police and Victoria Police confirmed they would be running public safety operations during the visit. Taxpayer funded, publicly confirmed.
Costs of doing so are met entirely by external funding, and no charitable funds have been used. Harry dramatically quit the charity, as we've talked about. He called the leadership, Sophie Chanduku, untenable.
The exact concern those 45,000 people raised turned out to be completely justified. The spokesperson had called the petition ridiculous.
Taxpayers in Australia will fund some of the tour, despite their insistence that it will be privately funded. Let me take you through this breaking news, which is about the police operations bill during the fake Duke and Duchess's tour next week. The Daily Mail reports the couple's itinerary is understood to include stops in Melbourne, Canberra and Sydney. More than 35,000 people signed a petition in March demanding no taxpayers' money be spent on their upcoming visit. But a spokesman for the couple responded to the petition stating the trip would be privately funded and pinpointing how many Australians had not signed up. He said, and we know who this dude is, by the way, Liam Maguire, the latest propagandist. How long is he going to last? He was previously Meredith Main's deputy. Remember, she quit over the Kardashian lies. But he said it's a moot point. The trip is being funded privately, so I'm not sure what this petition hopes to achieve.
The police then confirmed the petition was right. In the same week, there is also the matter of Meghan's wellness retreat, an event explicitly marketed around women empowering women. A journalist who paid the full ticket price was accepted, received a personal email telling her she had been chosen, and had already made her arrangements, was subsequently contacted and told she could no longer attend. The reason? She worked in media. No such exclusion had been disclosed during the booking process. No terms and conditions mentioned it. She asked for a tax invoice to claim business expenses and received a phone call instead of an invoice, and then a rejection. An event about connection and community and women lifting each other up. And they ran background checks on a paying customer and threw her out for her job title.
I do share the fact that this reporter was turned away from Meghan's retreat because they found out she was a journalist. Absurd. And the journalist is like, well, I was kind of getting exciting for her. What the heck? Why didn't you warn me or warn anybody saying, no media, no journalists allowed? It's because someone has put it out there that they have found a mole to go infiltrate this event, and good luck figuring it out. Now, look, I don't have a problem with this. Good on them for getting someone in there. But why did you say it out loud? Why ruin it? Now they're going to crack down and make it harder. I just think that's dumb. Sneak the mole in, keep your mouth shut, and get the report. But now other people are getting suffered. It's making it more stressful. I know everyone just wants to make Meghan Markle stressed, and I get it to an extent. But if you guys are planning shenanigans, don't give it away early, or maybe you'll screw other people who are trying to do it too. Keep it to yourself. Get inside, get the information, and then let's, pop the champagne. But that's the problem. Both sides get a little too aggressive sometimes.
Step back from the individual events and look at what this week actually represents as a whole. In the space of 72 hours, a charity filed defamation proceedings against Harry in the High Court. Harry flew to Australia to give a paid speech on workplace mental health. Australian taxpayers were confirmed to be funding police operations, despite explicit public promises they would not be. A woman was ejected from a paid event for her job title, and over 45,000 Australians had formally declared they wanted no part of funding this visit. This is not bad luck. This is a pattern.
She is a proud, confident woman of colour who was never a star of Suits, but has been a star in her own constellation. She has achieved with brains what I'm just so fabulous, achieved with I'm just so clever. Nobody can see through me. Achieved with everything else. I said it at the time, and I have thought about it, and I'm sure I'm right. Colour and class come into this in a major way.
And the pattern is this. Harry and Meghan consistently position themselves as victims of forces beyond their control, a hostile press, a cold palace, a racist institution, a world that misunderstands them. And yet, in every major conflict they have been involved in, the people on the other side are not faceless tabloids or anonymous trolls. They are specific, credentialed, accomplished individuals, a charity chair, a board of trustees, a charity commission, 45,000 ordinary taxpayers who tell a remarkably consistent story about how decisions get made, how information gets weaponized, and how people who push back get treated.
She said she really liked the idea of the luxury, and she thought that it was clear that magic would happen at the event.
Yeah.
And she did actually go into the sort of constant approaches that were made in terms of the details. And when she asked for a tax invoice to obviously claim the tax back from the ticket, she said that was the moment everything changed. Instead of an invoice, I got a phone call attempt followed by an email that blindsided me. They'd become aware that I work in media, and because this was a closed door experience, they were no longer able to offer me access. Just like that, I went from invited guest to excluded attendee. And she said, what makes this whole thing especially surprising is that at no point during the booking process was there any disclosed condition stating that media professionals were ineligible to attend. She said she was just a paying customer, and she explained that her role was in shopping.
Dr. Sophie Chandoka is not a newspaper. She is not a jealous courtier trying to protect the old establishment. She is a Zimbabwean woman who ran a charity for children with HIV, who reportedly used her own family's resources in support of its mission, who sat in that chair and was blindsided when Harry took a story to the press without a single warning call. And when she stood her ground, the narrative being pushed was that she was the problem. She did not write a memoir. She did not go on Oprah. She did not launch a podcast. She walked into the High Court with her evidence and let the legal process speak for her.
This has just got disaster written all over it. And I'd like to just bring up with you talking about all of the alcohol. I myself like a good cocktail here and there, but there is so much alcohol involved with this, and yet they're expecting strangers to share rooms with each other, and in some cases not offering twin beds. So you've got a bunch of women getting together, or men, there might be men there as well. They didn't say it was exclusively women. A bunch of strangers getting together, plying them with alcohol, and then expecting them to sleep in rooms together with strangers. I mean, can anybody say the word lawsuit?
That takes a very particular kind of confidence, the confidence of someone who genuinely believes the documentation is on her side. If this case reaches the discovery phase, Harry's team would be compelled to disclose private communications, emails, texts.
Why didn't you warn me or warn anybody saying, no media, no journalists allowed? It's because someone has put it out there that they have found a mole.
Harry launched what was described as a thinly veiled attack on the chair, Sophie Chandoka of Centre Bali, that he founded 2 decades ago for telling, quote, blatant lies. He said in response to the Charity Commission's decision to open a compliance case, the Prince said he hoped a robust inquiry would unveil the truth. Now, we don't know why it is that Centre Bali or why Harry is actually being sued, what the actual reason for this libel is. But given that he accused Sophie Chandoka of telling blatant lies, Miss Chandoka is a lawyer, and she does not suffer fools gladly. We found that out.
No.
I would suspect that this has got something to do with it. This is maybe what he's being sued for.
documented contacts between his representatives and media outlets that would reveal exactly how that alleged campaign was structured. That is precisely why experienced observers believe this case may never reach a full trial. The pressure of what discovery might reveal could be more than sufficient motivation to settle fast and settle quietly.
This is not a tour.
Exactly. And it didn't get leaked. That's why they're even clapping back at certain things in the operational notes. If those operational notes were just for your team and your security, why are there notes in there talking about, but this is going to be privately funded? That is a response in there for the public, for the people that they know are going to obviously then have this information passed down to them. They don't care about their security arrangements. This is about Harry and Meghan trying to look important. This is Harry and Meghan going on another promotional tour where they will use sick children in hospital, they will use veterans, Meghan going to a homeless shelter for women. This is again them using people as props and a stage.
But the filing alone has already achieved something no book deal or Netflix documentary ever could. It has placed Harry on record in the High Court of England and Wales as the defendant in a defamation case brought by the charity he created in his mother's memory. Dr. Sophie Chandoka has just handed Harry a taste of his own medicine inside the very court he loves so much.
But she's giving Harry a message and Meghan a message. I, Sophie Chandoka, am a proud, confident woman of colour, and I am capable, and I can crush you, you filthy little racists. And you thought you were going to play the race and class card against me and get away with it? Well, I'm going to show you who is boss.
The case is open, the emails exist, and discovery is coming. Hit subscribe right now, because this story is only getting started.